Brant is back, and I know many of you are finally seeing the charm in this man, and I've pulled or planning to pull him. It's been a long while since I made the old guide, so in this video I will give you an updated guide for him covering everything you need to know about him, including his kit, some advanced tips, builds, teams, rotations and more. Starting with his kit. His kit may be a bit difficult to understand, but I will break it down and go with a flow that is easier to understand. For every 1% of Brant's energy regen over 150 is converted to attack. Brant's Liberation is an opener, both combo and legs opener, because it doubles the rate of Brant's Forte stacks gain. Along with this, it increases the attack buff from his energy regen to attack conversion. Maximum he can get is up to 2600 attack, which means that the conversion caps at 280% energy regen. The Liberation has low damage, but it gives healing and has a high energy cost of 175, which is not a big problem as we will be building energy regen on him. His Liberation is also a really good gap closer between enemies. Brant's Resonance skill deals some damage and launches him in the air, and he can continue with his mid-air attack combos. It is a good way to start his rotation if you don't have access to his intro.
Well, you can just jump and do the mid-air attack combo, but the Resonance skill helps you trigger some buffs like the Molten Rift, and also gives some Forte stacks.
And the animation of this skill can be cancelled by using his Liberation. While in mid-air, the Resonance skill changes and using it will do a plunge attack. This plunge attack will automatically get casted, sending you on ground if you miss any of the first two hits of his mid-air attack combo. Brant gets his Forte circuit stacks when any of his normal attacks hit, which includes the mid-air attacks, ground basic attacks, dodge counters or heavy attacks. He gains some from his intro skill and from Resonance skill. He can hold up to 100 stacks. Whenever he gains 25 stacks, he will heal the team. It is marked by this dot on the Forte circuit. When the Forte is full, his Resonance skill will be enhanced. This skill has insane multipliers and casting it deals a massive chunk of damage, which is considered as basic attack damage and generates a shield. This is one of the core damage skills in the famous fusion team, as it can annihilate the enemies with the buffs. His outer skill gives 20% fusion and 25% resonance skill damage amplification, which is really nice. Brant's inherent passive increases his Forte healing and gives him some resistance to interruption, which is not that high, and 15% fusion damage bonus. Now let's talk about Brant's mid-air attacks, which we will mostly be using as they deal the highest damage amongst his normal attacks. Make sure to pay attention closely as it might be tricky to understand if you miss some part. Brant has a 4-hit mid-air attack combo. In the first 2 hits he will swing towards the enemy, the 3rd hit creates his vortex and the 4th hit locks onto the enemy and dashes on them. If Brant doesn't hit any enemy with his basic attack stage 1 or 2, he will do a plunge attack ending his mid-air state. You can also hold his normal attack button, which will do the spin charge attack. The spin attack can be casted by holding the normal attack button after stage 1 and 2 of his mid-air attack combo. But if you just hold it, he will continue to do the combo twice and do a flip. After this flip, press the normal attacks to continue with his combo. If you miss any of the first 2 hits, you can press dodge to reset the combo instead of plunging on ground. Brant can flip after every hit of his mid-air attack. This is important as the flip can be used to dodge attacks. His rotations are extremely easy, which I will cover soon, so don't worry too much about learning all this, just learn his rotation. There is a trick that you can do to repeat a specific stage of mid-air attack. You can use dodge cancelling. The 4th mid-air attack is the most rewarding one as it has the highest multiplier. To execute it, as soon as Brant's 4th attack hits the enemy, but before it lands, use dodge and then tap the attack button again. You need precise timing for this, so it is difficult to perform. It is easier to do on bigger enemies. This increases rotation slightly but can be useful for a DPS or a solo playstyle, but is not necessary if you don't want extra trouble. For his talent priority, prioritize his Forte followed by his basic attacks, Liberation, then the intro skill and resonance skill take the least priority, which can be leveled slightly if you wish to. Moving on to his echo sets. Brant's echo choices can be a bit complicated. There are 2 main echo sets for him, the Tidebreaking Courage and Molten Rift. His best echo choice changes with his weapons. There's 2 more sets which I will talk about at the end of this section. I will go over each of his echo set options, starting with the Tidebreaking Courage. The 2-piece of this set gives 10% energy regen and the 5-piece gives 15% attack and 30% all types of damage bonus, as long as the equipped character has at least 250% energy regen. And the echo skill to pair with it is a Dragon of Dirge, which provides the best buffs, 12% fusion damage and 12% basic attack damage. This echo skill deals some nice damage and it can be swap cancelled or dash cancelled. If you wish to use this set, you will need to reach 250% energy regen bare minimum. And this echo set is best paired with weapons that provide turn of energy regen, like a signature weapon which provides a massive 77% energy regen stat, or Overture that provides 51.8% energy regen, With Overcharge, you will need at least 24.2% energy regen from Substats to reach the bare minimum amount even with double energy regen 3 cost echoes. This energy regen amount can be possible to reach with S5 Emerald of Genesis as well, which provides 25.8% energy regen.
But you will need really high energy regen rolls from Echo Substats, around 51.8%, which is possible as the maximum energy regen stat you can get is 12.8%, but it is really difficult to get.
The primary aim is to reach to 50% energy regen with this set. If you can reach this amount with a single ER 3 cost echo, then it is better to use a fusion echo for the other 3 cost slot. The next echo set we have is a good old Molten Rift with the Nightmare Inferno Rider echo skill. Even though the normal Inferno Rider provides better buffs, Nightmare 1 is better as the buff is unconditional. This set provides 15% fusion damage bonus and 30% more after using a resonance skill. This echo set is around 6% worse than the Tidebreaking Courage with its signature, but is best paired with weapons that don't provide energy regen like Camellia's signature Red Spring, Emerald of Genesis or Blazing Brilliance. For the echo stats with this set, it depends on your weapon, echoes and team. If you can reach 130% energy regen with Substats alone or with the help of Emerald of Genesis, then at this point fully commit to ER and go with double ER on 3 cost. If it is below 130%, then it is better to forget about ER and go with double fusion. This is because the initial 50% of Brant's energy regen is not considered in his buff. However, a no ER build will only work in a Hypercarry Brant team as you will be using his Forte multiple times. In other teams like with Changli or Carlotta, where you will use his Forte once with Liberation, you will need to have energy regen to get his Liberation back on time, around 140%. Some other niche sets that you can use are the Moonlit Echo set and Rejuvenating Glow set. The Moonlit set has been a staple for sub DPS characters to buff the main DPS, and it's perfectly viable on Brant too for buffing a main DPS like Changli, Carlotta, Chixia. Brant's DPS falls off by a lot, but main DPS with more buffs slightly makes up for it. But still the team damage will be slightly less. I wouldn't recommend using this set cause Brant will lose out on a lot of damage unless you don't care about him and just want to use him for the buffs. As Brant can heal, he can use the Rejuvenating Glow set, but it is pretty niche as he is more suited as a hybrid DPS role due to how his outro works than a sustained DPS, and he is better used with DPS sets. For Echo Substats, first get the required amount of energy regen, then crit stats, followed by basic attack damage bonus, attack percent and flat attack. Stat goal will be 65% plus crit rate and 200% plus crit damage, with energy regen changing as per weapon and teams. Moving on to his weapons. Brant's signature creates a drastic difference between his other weapon options. It provides a huge 77% energy regen which fits perfectly with his passive and the best echo set. It also provides crit rate, making it easy to build him, and up to 42% basic attack damage bonus. There are other decent options, but I would highly recommend you to pull for it if you have the resources. The Red Spring with Molten Rift set is the next best option, followed by Blazing Brilliance and Emerald of Genesis with Molten Rift, and Overcharge with the Tidebreaking Courage set comes at last. Lumin Gloss with the Molten Rift set is another viable option. Moving on to his team comps. Brant is a character that provides everything: good damage, sustainability through heals and shields, and buff from his outro. He can be used as a Quickswap DPS, he can efficiently fill his Concerto energy making him a great sub DPS, and he also deals great personal damage letting you use him as a Hypercarry. Currently his base team includes 2 other fusion waifus, Lupa and Changli. I like to call it the Brant Harem team. In this team, the core is Lupa, providing various different buffs for the fusion DPS characters. You can play it in a Quickswap playstyle or even in a normal Hypercarry playstyle where you outro from Lupa to Brant to Changli and back to Lupa. You can replace Changli with other fusion characters like Angkor or Chixia. If you don't have Lupa, Brant works well with Changli as well. Both of them buffing each other can be played as Quickswap or Hypercarry team. The last slot is Flex, usually used by Shorekeeper or Varina. Chixia, another phenomenal DPS to use with Brant. You can run dual DPS comp with them to compensate for each other's downtime, and Chixia benefits fully from Brant's outro. Similarly, Angkor can be used in such a team. Characters that deal resonance skill damage like Carlotta, Jinxie can be buffed by Brant. With Jinxie, you will need a coordinated attacker for the last slot like Yuanwu, Yinlin, etc. And let's not forget Brant's capacity to deal good personal damage lets you use him as a Hypercarry too. And to buff him, there are 2 main characters. One is Lupa and an F2P alternative is Sanwa, both providing huge buffs to Brant. Lupa is slightly better as she provides more buffs, whereas Sanwa compensates with fast rotation. And the flex slot can be filled by sustain support like Shorekeeper, Varina or Baiji. There's one more team that no one talks about and is my favorite team, which is Solo Brant. And now that we know about his kit, build and playstyle, let's see his rotations. Brant's rotations are extremely easy and he can fill his concerto really fast. Make sure you listen to the important note towards the end of this section. Let's start with the normal hybrid DPS rotation. With the Tidebreaking set, after his intro use his Liberation, then hold his basic attack button to spin once. When he flips, use his normal attack to cast mirror attack 3. Use the fourth attack to fill the remaining Forte, use Forte skill and outro. If you are using Molten Rift, after his intro use his skill and cancel its animation with his Liberation. Then simply hold the basic attack button to spin twice. Since we have used skill after intro, this resets his basic attack combo letting you spin twice, which is enough to fill up his Forte. Use his Forte attack and outro. There are times where you may get interrupted while in air, so all you can do is jump and go back in air to fill the rest of the Forte. If only a small amount is left, you can just do it with a ground basic attack. Brant can also fill up his Forte efficiently without the need of an intro skill, making him an amazing unit for double intro teams. The rotation for it starts with his skill and animation cancel his Liberation, then use his mid attack combo and fill his Forte for the nuke. You can use the echo skill and swap cancel when you get the chance, or it is fine to skip it. One thing to note that Brant can easily get interrupted while doing his Forte attack, so you can optionally swap cancel it to keep him safe. Do note that you won't get the concerto from the Forte attack unless the last hit registers, so you can swap cancel it, then go back to Brant and trigger his outro. You can use echo skill in this switch and swap cancel it. For Hypercarry, you can do a double DPS rotation. The main aim is to use mirror attacks in the preparation phase to build up Forte. You can use a Quickswap playstyle for this, or after the sustain support like Shorekeeper intro to Brant and do a mirror attack combo to almost fill his Forte. I like to use this skill at the beginning and swap cancel it for some extra Forte. Then switch to the sub DPS like Sanwa, fill her concerto intro to Brant. This will fill the remaining Forte, use the Forte skill, then use Liberation and do another Forte skill for double nuke. Now let's talk about Quickswap Brant. Brant's Quickswap playstyle is quite easy, especially with characters like Changli or Lupa, as they can use their skills in midair as well. You can swap out between any of his combos and swap back to him before he falls on the ground to continue spamming his midair attack. You can also use echo skill in these swaps. You can swap cancel the Forte skill, but I don't usually do that when Brant is heavily buffed like he has Lupa's outro buff, as a swap will remove it. And lastly, moving on to his sequences. A small note, do not go for his sequences unless you have a signature weapon. It is a better investment to go for, so the weapon should be your top priority.
The sequence one is quite nice.
It slows down enemies while doing his Forte attack. It is a nice quality of life upgrade, as Brant might get interrupted while doing this attack, and the enemies won't go out of his range, which fixes a big problem. It additionally increases his damage by 20% up to 3 times, which can be stacked by using his intro skill and with the flip from his midair attacks. The second sequence is one of the biggest upgrades. It provides 30% credit to his midair attacks and the Forte skill. And after triggering his outro, the resonance skill of the next character you switch into will trigger a blast from Brant, dealing 440% damage of his attack, which can be triggered twice. Characters like Changli, Carlotta, Jinxie, Chixia, Lupa, who use resonance skill, can trigger this effectively. It provides a damage boost of around 44% to Brant. The sequence 3 is where he gets another big increase of 34%, as it buffs the multiplier of his new kit, that is his Forte attack. Sequence 4 just improves his shield and healing, not that big of a deal. The 5th sequence gives 15% basic attack damage bonus to Brant, which is a minimal increase of around 10%. It is only a stepping stone for the 6th sequence. And the last sequence will increase the damage of S0 Brant by 2.5 times. It increases his midair attack damage and deals additional hit alongside his Forte attack. So overall, for his investment priority, the weapon takes the first seat, followed by his second sequence, then the 6th sequence. And some final thoughts about Brant before we end this video. Brant is an amazing character able to be played as anything you want, sub DPS or hypercarry, and even a sustain support. His outer buff lets him pair with many DPS characters. he provides damage, heals, shield and buffs. As he is mid-air most of the time, he can avoid a lot of ground attacks. However, he can easily get interrupted while doing his mid-air attack combo. His signature weapon, unlike most other limited characters, create a massive damage difference of more than 30% over his other options, which makes it kind of must-pull for him. And he can be a bit difficult to build, especially for new players, as you have to manage his energy regen and crit. Doing this without his signature feels a lot worse. But overall, he's an amazing character and you won't regret pulling him, I can assure you that. And that's all for this video. Don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe for more Wuthering Waves content. Thanks for watching.